Cool. So what I actually explored as a part of this cohort was I wanted to learn agentic architecture, agentic patterns. So just building something like a lot of you might have seen the Anthropic, like the blog on agents. Uh, if you haven't seen it, great blog. Just go through it. But yeah, I was doing something like this, like a request comes in, there is a router which decides which agent to call, and mainly the reason why you want to do this is you want specialization, right? Like a lot of our use cases are not like one prompt handles everything, right? Like few of you or a lot of you might have attended the session from Aditya like a few weeks back. Prompts are highly specialized. Like you can't have gigantic prompt with a lot of things. It needs to be specialized. You need to make sure the attention is in the right places, right? So you build something like this where based on the use case, you route it to one of the agents. The agent solves it, and then the output goes back to the user, right? So I was trying something like this, and did most of the coding using Claude. And I'll just give a demo of it. So what I built is this is like a teacher chatbot. Uh, One second, guys. I'll just start fresh. It's a teacher chatbot. Just built it in command line, like nothing else. There is no like a WhatsApp integration or anything. It's just purely for my learning purposes. So command line interface. It's a educational chatbot. Teacher can come and ask questions, and then the orchestrator, right, which I showed you earlier, it decides like which agent to call. There are three agents, by the way. The first agent is called like you see here. It's called teacher support. It's a general or a generic agent. Like any question that you ask, you can go and ask like, "What's the temperature today?" Right? Because you can't restrict what teacher can come in and ask. Right? Or like any question, right? For example, how can I make my class more fun? All those things are general teacher support. It goes to this support agent. Teachers also come and ask very specific questions like, can you create like 5 questions on decimals, right? So those kind of things go to this quiz agent. The reason why I want to specialize is this agent can go and ask like, make it easy, make it difficult, like make it like 2 decimal points, like whatever it is, right? It can be like very specialized. The last one is also lesson plan. The teacher can go and ask, can you give me a lesson plan on decimals, a lesson plan on fractions? It's not like, as you can see here, you can run all of these through one like gigantic prompt which does everything, but I've tried it, it does very poorly. So now I have specialized it. So I'll just show you what happens here. So as a teacher, I can go and say hi. Just I'll try to emulate like a real chat. It first went to the teacher support agent, the general or generic teacher support. I can start chatting with it. I can say, for example, I can go and I can ask it, how do I handle bullies in my class? Right? It's not really a lesson specific thing. So it went to the general teaching support, and like let me also open up the general teaching support bot or the agent. So very small prompt, guys. I just try to keep it simple. You're a friendly teacher assistant. Reply back to the short message with 2-3 relevant emojis less than 500 characters. Like as simple as this. So now let me go and ask. I can go and ask. Give me 5 questions on decimals. So it now routed it to the quiz generator agent. Which also I'll just quickly show you. This is again one more simple prompt. You're a quiz generation assistant. You generate high quality, age appropriate quizzes, just as simple as this. And if you see here, because of this kind of context engineering that I've done here, right, which is not one gigantic prompt, very short prompt, very relevant. It gives me like great results, very relevant results. And I'll also show you the last thing I have. So I can go and say, can you give me a lesson plan on fractions. And so this agent, I've made it a little bit more autonomous in the sense it won't just spit out an answer. It'll ask for a few things, and only when it has enough clarity, it will go and give you back an answer. If you see here, it routed it to the lesson planning agent, and here it's saying, sure, to create a detailed lesson plan for fractions, I need a few more details. Can you clarify the country? So I can go and say India, because the standards are different in different countries, right? So which grade level? I can say 6th. Last thing is, it is asking me which specific topic, so I'll call it addition, fraction additions. And now it should come up with a lesson plan. So if you can see here, it's a little bit more autonomous. It came up with a lesson plan. It says like, what do you do in the first 15 minutes, next 15 minutes, like how do you close the class, all of that. So I'll just show you the prompt for this also. This is a slightly different agent because I made it a bit more autonomous. So here I'm saying, make sure you have country, grade, subject, topic before you create the full lesson plan. Otherwise, it becomes irrelevant, right? So I'm giving it the agency to ask these things. I'm not like making it spit out an answer immediately. It's asking all of these things. Once all of this is there, it goes and it returns a completion status. And only when a completion status is returned, you come out of this agent. Otherwise, the control is in this agent. It is just stuck in this agent. It gets clarity on all of these things. It makes sure the output is given based on all of these information, and finally it comes out. And so that's pretty much what I have, folks. But actually, before I wrap up, like after I did all of this, right, I realized one more thing. I did this just for a fun project, right? It's not like a real world use case. But what I realized is everything that I was doing here, right? I could do it, do the exact same thing using tool calling, right? And I'll open up that example also. So yeah, this is the tool calling thing. So here again, I have like a dispatcher. This could be like a very lightweight model. It need not be like, you know, if you make a prompt call every time, it's just tokens, money, like expensive, right? So this could be like a dispatcher, which is just like a lightweight model. It could be like 4.0 or Cloud Haiku, whichever it is, right? A cheap lightweight model. So I'm just saying you're a lightweight dispatcher, you never answer questions. Your job is to only decide which tool to call. And yeah, I've defined the tools here. Like one tool is called quiz generator, another tool is called lesson plan helper, another is called general teaching support. And the thing here is, guys, the beauty of function calling is you need not like decide where the control goes, right? You can just leave it to the LLM. And the LLM decides which function needs to be called. It will also decide which arguments needs to be passed to the function. And the amazing part is you can also decide the complete orchestration, guys. Like I can say, I can tell this chatbot, I can ask it, like, give me a lesson plan and give me 5 questions. It will decide that it first needs to call this lesson planning thing. It first decides its lesson planning thing, then it decides the next question is generated, right? And I'm not like controlling anything at all. If you look at the agent architecture, I was doing like a lot more control. It works great when your use cases are deep, right? For example, some teacher coming and saying, hey, can you give me a lesson plan based on how my students performed in the last test, right? That's a lot of work. Like you need to first go get the performance in the previous test, then you need to see where the gaps in the students' learning are, and finally you need to like customize a lesson plan. So that kind of deep use cases, right? Agents make total sense. Whereas if the queries are a bit more shallow, right? If it's like give me a lesson plan on triangles, right? You need not do an agentic architecture. It's too much of an overkill. You could do something as simple as this. You could have like a tool caller. You could have like a function calling thing. You could define the functions, and the control will get passed automatically to the function. Cost is also much lesser here because the intent detection, right? Whether it's a lesson planning, quiz generation, whatever it is, right? It's not done separately. It's done as a part of the LLM call itself, right? And like for what I can use in the inside the quiz generator, right? I can go have like a separate LLM call. So this is more like a lightweight dispatcher. The actual like heavy lifting can be done inside these functions itself, like the question generator or the lesson plan generation. So yeah, like finally, like we use something like this in my organization. We just decided that for what we are doing today, function calling is sufficient. And as our users also their use cases become deeper, right? Then we can move to an agentic architecture because it's too much work to build an agent and do evals and like also cost wise it's much higher. So we just thought we postpone that for a bit later and start with something as simple as function calling. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Just two different models, and we compared it. Both work great, but agentic is a bit of an overkill. Also, the other thing that I tried is in agentic, try to build in a little bit more autonomy. Yeah, finally decided. I think this is kind of the work that a lot of PMs are doing nowadays, which is not just your defining use cases, it's also like helping the tech folks with the little bit of architecture, the design patterns, all of that. That evolution is happening. Like earlier, like 2 years, 3 years back, I'd have just written a long PRD, given it to my PM and said to implement it. But what I'm seeing in my org, like elsewhere, is PMs are getting a little bit more into hands-on work like this, trying few patterns, trying some architectures, and making sure that the limited tech resources that we have access to, right, is utilized in the best possible way based on some directions that we do. So that's why I've done this work.
Awesome. Is it something that you're planning to expand into a proper production setup? Sure.
Yeah. Actually, my company, it already does something like this, Bala. We have a chatbot called Tari. We have like a student chatbot called Rory and a teacher chatbot called Tari. It's quite popular. Like it has got a DA of around 2,000 users now, which happened like a few months back. Yeah, so now what we are seeing is users are not just happy with the generic output it's giving. So we are trying to, that generic output is already going. So when we do the evals, like the metric with which we are evaluating is number of pedagogically useful conversations. And that's the metric. We have LLM as a judge. That pedagogically useful conversations has kind of flattened, which means that the gigantic prompt that we have today, right, is not doing that great. So now we are going into specialized use cases.
Got it. Makes sense.
This tool calling, right? Like I saw that there are a bunch of tool calls. So over a period of time when you run it, do you think it is running consistently and able to do all the right things, or it just gives up in between? What is your experience? Because in my experience, it is not reliable. Just wanted to get how it is as of now, because you are the ones who used it recently.
Don't know, Praveen. Like I just did it for a small pilot, or I kind of vibe coded this. Now that you mentioned this, I'm a bit. I'll have to do a little bit more research there. Okay. What I read is, Praveen, if it's as long as like I read that number somewhere that it's 15 to 20 tools, right? It does okay. And also it depends on how you define the tools, right? If you saw in my code, I had like a tool definition. So like if this is also one of the evals that you do, if the wrong tool is being called, you probably go and you fix the function definition so that the right tool gets called over. But I'll monitor this. Once we build this, I'll monitor it, and maybe at some point of time it will start us like a lot of wrong tool calling, right? It's that maybe that time we might have to wean out of it and do before like an agentic architecture, where I'll have a lot more control over where the routing, like which direction it goes.
Understood. Okay. Was this the first time you coding it? I'm curious.
No. I've, last 1 year, I've done lots of things.
Right.
But first time I used Cloud Code, and yeah, it's amazing, guys. It's just super useful. It's just like some of the it abstracts out a lot of details which PMs never want to get into, right? Like for example, like some kind of OOPS kind of concepts. And OOPS is what OOPS is object-oriented programming, right? Like a parent, a child, that hierarchy, defining that hierarchy. Especially when you start building agentic products, you would have like a base agent. From that, you would inherit a child agent, bunch of child agents. Like I don't want to get into all that trivialities. So Cloud Code works great. You can just define the high level details and you do. And then afterwards, if you understand code, you can go and like go modify a lot of things.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, but we can move to the next person.
Awesome. Abhinav, do you want to go next?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I will go.
Yeah, after Abhinav.